We've all heard the stories, right? These incredible tales of lost civilizations that have fascinated us for centuries. But what if I told you that there's a real discovery out there that is, honestly, way more incredible than any legend?
To really get why this discovery is such a game changer, let's first take a quick trip through some of the most famous legends of our deep past. You know, these amazing stories of entire worlds that just disappeared.
Okay, first up you have the big one, Atlantis. Plato told us about this place way back around 360 BC. He described it as this powerhouse of engineering and military strength, a super sophisticated society that was just wiped off the map in a single terrible day and night.
Then you have the legend of Mu, which got really popular in the 1800s. The idea here was of this huge continent in the Pacific Ocean, a kind of spiritual paradise that was supposedly the ancestral home for all of humanity.
And of course, we can't forget Lemuria. Now this one's interesting because it actually started as a real scientific theory in the 19th century to explain how certain animals got around. But it was quickly hijacked and transformed into this myth of a lost, peaceful, and super evolved spiritual society.
So you've got these epic stories of high-tech cities and dramatic endings, but they all have the exact same problem. There's absolutely no physical, archaeological proof they ever existed. So what if I told you that the reality, built by simple hunter-gatherers, is way, way older and honestly, more mind-blowing than any of these myths?
We're going to a real place, a site in modern-day Turkey that has completely flipped our entire understanding of the ancient world on its head. It's called Göbeklitepe.
So the first thing that you just have to wrap your head around is the age of this place. Radiocarbon dating tells us it was built around 9600 BC. That is almost 12,000 years ago. Now let's put that date into perspective for a second. Göbekli Tepe is more than 6,000 years older than Stonehenge. It's 7,000 years older than the Great Pyramid. And it wasn't built by some advanced civilization with metal tools and writing. No, this was built by hunter-gatherers, people from the Stone Age, long before pottery was even invented.
And this is where we get the first huge shock from the site. Archaeologists have looked everywhere, and there are no houses, no cooking fires, no evidence that anyone actually lived here. This wasn't a city. It was a sacred place, a massive complex of temples built purely for ritual.
So what did these ancient people actually build on this remote hilltop? Well, let's take a closer look at the incredible and really mysterious structures they left behind.
What we see are these huge circular enclosures, and the walls are lined with these enormous T-shaped pillars made of limestone. Each one weighs several tons, and in the center of each circle stand two even bigger pillars, some reaching up to 18 feet high.
Now here's the crucial part. These aren't just posts holding up a roof. The lead archaeologist, a man named Klaus Schmidt, had this incredible realization. He saw that they're actually stylized statues of people. You can see carvings of arms on their sides, hands, and even clothing like belts and loincloths. It's like these faceless stone beings are all gathered together in a silent meeting.
And these stone people aren't alone. The pillars are just covered in this amazing zoo of animal carvings, all done with incredible skill. You've got foxes, vultures, wild boar, snakes, big cats. This isn't just random decoration. It's like a window into the entire mythological world of these ancient people.
So yeah, this discovery was amazing to look at, but it did something much more important. It completely shattered about a century of archaeological theory. Let me show you how. For decades, the story of civilization was pretty simple, right? Step 1, people figure out farming. Step 2, farming lets them settle down in villages. And only then, step 3, once you have a stable food supply and a settled life, do you get complex religion and big temples. Made sense. Well, Göbekli Tepe flips that entire story completely upside down. Remember, it was built by hunter-gatherers before farming. This suggests that the shared need, the intense desire to come together and build this incredible sacred place, that might have been the very thing that pushed humanity to invent agriculture in the first place, just to feed all the workers. In other words, the temple came before the town.
So you might be wondering, how can we be so sure about the story of Göbekli Tepe, but so skeptical about something like Atlantis? Well, it all comes down to the method.
And this chart really lays it out perfectly. You see, scientific archaeology is a slow, careful process. It builds theories from the ground up based on real evidence that's been dug up in its original context. Pseudo-archaeology does the exact opposite. It starts with a wild idea, like a lost continent, and then just picks and chooses bits of data that seem to support it.
Now, just because we've kind of set the myths aside, doesn't mean we have all the answers. In fact, Göbekli Tepe leaves us with some truly profound mysteries, questions that are way more compelling than any legend.
I mean, seriously, who were these people? We know they were hunter-gatherers who pulled off this unbelievable feat of engineering and organization. But we have no idea what they called themselves, what language they spoke. They're like a ghost in our own history.
And what did it all mean? What did all those animal symbols represent? Were they gods, spirits, clan totems? And who were those silent, faceless stone people on the pillars? Without any writing, all we can do is guess at the rich, spiritual world they created.
And then there's maybe the biggest mystery of them all. After using this place for about 1,500 years, the people who built it deliberately buried it. They carefully covered the entire site with thousands of tons of dirt, which is actually why it's so perfectly preserved. Was it some final ritual? Did their whole belief system change? We just don't know.
You see, in the end, we don't need to make up stories about lost continents to find wonder in our past. The real story, carved into stone 12,000 years ago by our own ancestors, is a mystery that's so much deeper and more powerful than any work of fiction. It proves that the greatest secrets aren't in what we imagine was lost, but in the tangible proof of what was incredibly, amazingly real.